Okay, good morning, everybody. We're all here. I call to order the Tuesday, January 21st, Judicial and Public Safety Committee. Can I get a roll call, please?
Chair Evans.
Here.
Member Childress. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Hyder. Member Honig.
Here.
Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Here. Member Zay.
Okay, do we have any public comment today?
No public comment.
No public comment. Okay, so for chair remarks, I just want to thank everybody for being here in this horrible weather, and for anybody who's working outside, thank you for keeping us moving and keeping us going. The only other thing I wanted to report, I said it during county board, but I've been appointed chair of the Justice and Public Safety Policy Committee for ISACO. So that's something that I took over for our former member Patty Guston, and it's something I'm looking forward to digging into this role. There's a lot going on here in the state of Illinois, especially legislation. So if anybody has anything you'd like me to bring to the committee, I'm happy to discuss it. And with that, sorry. Oh, what's that, members A? Oh. Okay. Well, and with that, I will take a motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. Okay. Any discussion on them? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to procurement requisitions, can I get a motion to approve JPS P-7-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Axon Enterprise, Inc. for the purchase of an interview recording system for the Sheriff's Office for the period of February 1st, 2025 through November 30th, 2028 for a contract total amount not to exceed $172,633.19. Let's see, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to budget transfers, can I get a motion to approve item 25-254, transfer funds from extradition investigative to overtime and part-time help in the amount of $581 to cover the FY 2024 overtime and part-time help shortage? Any discussion on that? Yeah, member Honig.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Sorry.
Who so loud? I thought your microphone on.
I know I have a loud voice. Who could answer this? But when in regards to the part-time help shortage, is that in regards to our officers working overtime and then transferring that extra funds for that, or is that in regards to
So
some other part of the department?
Office, I'll have some, Jason.
I'm going to actually ask if Bob Lyons is online to answer this one. My guess is, yeah, it's just covering whatever part-time work might have been extra, but I'll defer to the state's attorney's office. Okay. If he's not on, I'll look to.
No, I'm here. Okay. This is cleanup for FY24, and throughout the course of the year, we need people to cover first appearance court and other things that come up that aren't planned for, trials, jury trials, witness transport, that kind of thing. So this is not going forward. This is for last year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-255, transfer of funds from regular salaries to per diem stipend in the amount of $23 for fiscal year 2024 caused by year-end payroll accrual reversal for the jury commissioners? Okay, we got a motion and a second. Member Krajewski.
Yeah, if we were to combine A through I, we wouldn't even get to $10,000. Is there still any way we can do this without having to type all this up and put, what was this one, 23 bucks?
These, I know.
I mean, seriously, there's got to be a better way to do this than.
I get there's rules
We
here.
can combine them all in a motion too, right, Connor?
Okay.
And just boom, 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 we can get them all through, but seriously, it's not even $10,000 for all of these.
Oh, yes, sorry, thanks.
Well, I'd love to do that, but this hits personnel, And the state's attorney has ruled that any budget transfers that hit personnel or capital have to be approved. Ideally, I like to do it internally or administratively, but that would go across all county elected departments. So this is, unfortunately, this is what we have to do for these smaller dollar amounts.
Can we just have, I mean, I can understand personnel, but if you had one line item with subcategories under personnel, can you do that? If we just have personnel expense of $5 million and underneath there, you can have whatever investigators, sergeants, however you want to break it out. And so as long as they have it in the personnel column,
Well, under the personnel category, there are
right, I understand.
line items. So each line item that it hits, if it has a 50 starting account, it's in the personnel category.
So every one of these is coming from a non-personnel item to a personnel item? Because you're saying we have to approve every budget transfer, at least the state's attorney's telling us that has to do with personnel.
Any budget line that hits the personnel category must be approved by the
So
county. board.
because we don't have enough in personnel, we're moving it from a non-personnel line item?
Yes, they're taking, for example, in 7A, they're taking funds from extradition/investigative. And looks like overtime, which is personnel. So that requires a budget transfer, and that's to cover part-time help.
But we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sheriff ones. So how, if we're short in personnel, how come we can't just do one transfer to take care of it? I mean, we've got like, I don't know how many sheriff ones are on here, but we should be able to have to do one personnel transfer for the year, at the end of the year to do cleanup. If they don't have enough under personnel, we do one transfer and then it's done. But we got, I don't know, there's three more here on sheriff or 4, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all hidden personnel. Anytime it hits-
I gotta believe that the state's attorney and the county can figure out how to do one transfer.
all of them come from a different area. So I'm sorry, for example, from extradition investigations going to a personnel item.
But is this because the budgets are so thin that they have zero over in their personnel? I mean, a lot of these guys have open positions for the year. I don't understand how they're short in personnel. And they're $23 and $500.
Well, the $23, that's an audit reversal of the prior year. So we have to bring this forward because the $23 hits a
Well, maybe
personnel.
we could just
category.
look into this, because I gotta believe there's an easier way to do this. I can't believe Lake County, King County is doing the same thing, having all these $10 budget transfers.
Sorry, member Krajewski, I think one of the transfers specifically is either moving it from the jail person or correctional staff personnel line to the patrol line or vice versa. I'm sorry, I might be mixing that up off the top of my head. So it's taking it from different divisions, but we will look into that and let us come up with.
But again, I don't think that's what the statute says we have to do. If it's going from one personnel.
We can go
to
back and
another.
review that.
Okay, thank you.
Member Zay and then member Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that we're doing this because the Attorney General ruled on this, and this was because of the clerk's challenge of our ability to do this. So this is why we're stuck changing anything in personnel and capital because of the Attorney General's ruling that if it's personnel or capital, we have to make these changes.
That's
So it's not
exactly.
that what you guys want to do, it's because the clerk challenged our authority, went to the Attorney General and asked for a ruling. And this is what the Attorney General said, that when it comes to personnel or capital, we have to do these transfers.
That's exactly what happened in the state.
And there's actually a statutory provision that requires transfers of personnel capital to be approved by the board.
So
So
this
that-
is not something you guys wanted. This is someone challenging our authority. And that now because of this, anything that happens, that we have to spend all this additional time and paperwork to do this because they went to the Attorney General and asked for authority for internal control. And the Attorney General came back and said, yes, they have control when it comes to personnel and capital. But this is the steps now we have to go through that everybody has to go through except them.
The Attorney General opinion that we got a couple of years ago clarified both the statutory change regarding personnel and capital and internal control. So it's just, it is a process that we would have, that any elected official needs to do when they're making transfers of personnel.
Thank you. Or one. And salaries. That's just between personnel. On number D, those are between personnel, so I understand. Relates to,
So we can take a look at it, but I mean.
but that's personnel to personnel. And
That's all right.
that's between personnel.
We'll let them get it up.
I mean, that's how we've been advised to do it,
By who?
by the Attorney General. After we got the opinion, we actually had that follow-up call with them. That's what they recommended. That's the processes that we've put in place.
But that's when it's coming from another.
But maybe we need to look at how budgets on the line items are.
But that's what you said when it's coming from another category to personnel, but we have some that are personnel to personnel. It's just
Well,
going
any
from temporary to
transfers are-
part-time or that's what I'm saying.
But
These,
it's any transfer of personnel. So if it's going from one personnel to another, so, I mean, maybe we just need to look at how those are apportioned among the personnel lines.
I can't imagine sub accounts under personnel require all this little minutia work between personnel line items, whether it's part-time to overtime to special pay time. It's all personnel. I can't imagine that they're requiring us to do this between personnel line items.
Okay.
I understand
let's-
the other end. of
Let's get a kind of a summary of what the policy is, and then we can revisit this. But Member Garcia and then Member you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I appreciate the hard work the staff is doing. They're just following the directives that the Attorney General said, as they said. And quite honestly, I think we spent a lot of time on this conversation, and it seems like I like the transparency, showing where it's going to where it's going. So I don't think it is, I mean, I know it gives us a few more eyes to say and a few more words to say, but I really think that we need to be as transparent as possible. So, but I don't disagree that a discussion could be had on this to maybe clean this up a little bit, but if the Attorney General gives a direction right now, that's what we need to follow, and that's what staff needs to follow. So thank you.
Thank you. Member you.
I was just going to echo what Member Garcia just stated, but also, again, this was a statutory thing that was set long before, and the Attorney General opinion, as Lisa stated, had clarified it. So I was taking a look at, all the other different line items, and they are coming from different accounts. So I don't know that, as Member Krajewski was stating, that if we would just combine these things, that would help necessarily, but I am looking forward to seeing if we can, streamline the process potentially. So thank you.
And this is just cleanup from, it's not like we're going to do this every month. This is just cleanup from FY24 too. So it's kind of more of a one-time. This is at the very end. Yeah, it was $24 or, $23, but at least, when we'll get through this, and then we'll be done with FY24. Okay, so all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-256, transfer of funds from overtime to cell phone stipend in the amount of $815 necessary for cell phone stipends paid in final pay period FY 2024. Okay, any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-257, transfer funds from regular salaries and regular salaries to regular salaries, regular salaries and regular salaries in the amount of $1,024 and $1,024,321 necessary between departments for FY 2024 salary. Any discussion on that? Member you?
Yeah, so I did have a question on this one, just because it was coming from one bucket of salaries and then to another. And so I'm just wondering, were there changes to the salaries? I'm not, can I just get more information about why there were so many transfers of over $1 million?
I'm going to defer to Deputy Chief Dan Bilodeau on this one.
Good morning, and thank you for that, Jason. So if you look, these are all different accounting units. We have the jail, we have law enforcement, we have court security. The crime lab is in there. It's just that we have a lot of movement within our agency. So for proper accounting principles, and to Member Garcia's point, transparency, as we do this moving back and forth, we just had to clean up the salaries at the end of the year for the other people who moved. There was also collective bargaining raises, step increases. So this is really just kind of our final wash down for our budget for the salaries for FY 24.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, Chief Billadu. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on, can I get a motion to approve item 25-258, transfer of funds from temporary salaries to part-time help in the amount of $1,286 to cover the expenses of part-time help for the office for FY 2024? Can I get? Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-259, transfer of funds from employee medical and hospital insurance to employer share IMRF and employer share Social Security in the amount of $1,685 for FY 2024 necessary due to SLEP IMRF contribution and Social Security actual rate greater than budgeted rate? Okay, any discussion on that? Oh, sorry, we didn't get a second. Thanks for the second. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-260, transfer of funds from part-time help to regular salaries in the amount of $485 necessary to cover the deficit in the regular salaries line that was unanticipated when FY 2024 budget was prepared? We got a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. Any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-314, transfer of funds from part-time help to per diem stipend in the amount of $150 for FY 2024 commissioner stipends? Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve item 25-315, transfer funds from salary and wage adjustments to benefit payments in the amount of $3,000 needed to transfer funds to cover employee benefit payments expenses for FY 2024? Okay, moved and seconded. Can I get any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to action items. Can I get a motion to approve item JPS CO-1-25, amendment to purchase order 7032-1 serve issued to Trinity Services Group to increase the contract encumbrance in the amount of $100,345 for new contract total not to exceed $1,325,376. That's an increase of 8.19%. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Oh wait, did we get a motion and a second? Okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Can I get a motion to receive and place on file item 9A in Public Defender's Office Monthly Statistical Report? Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Any old business? Member Ozog.
New business, sorry.
Oh, okay. So no old business? Okay, moving on to new business. Member Ozog?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure if any other board members have received this correspondence, but I've also received another couple of phone calls as well. This is the first day of the new federal administration, and I received the following letter. With the incoming Trump administration's recent rhetoric on immigration, I have some questions regarding local coordination with U.S. Immigration and Customs agents, ICE. How will local agencies, police, sheriff's department, handle visits and requests from ICE agents? What is the plan? Are there any specific situations where a local agency might ask about immigration status? Are there policies regarding how the local agencies verify immigration status when providing services? So I'm putting this out there. I would appreciate either from the state's attorney and or the sheriff's office or the court system, how we're going to be dealing with what we don't know. I understand that we don't really know what's coming down the pike, but obviously we're going to start to hear from concerned constituents, be they actual immigrants or migrants or concerned citizens. So thank you.
Thank you. And Nick Hotmeyer can speak on that a little bit.
Good morning. The email you're referring to, we've actually received several of those emails from different residents out there. We are working up a response in conjunction with the state's attorney, so that we can, most of them are kind of the same questions, so that we're trying to work up a response so that we can respond. There is a lot of questions out there and concerns, so we think that we can develop a response, but it's obviously got to be signed off by the state's attorney first.
Okay, and obviously you'll share that with us. because
Absolutely, because
I'm also hearing not just emails, but concerned
Yeah,
citizens, people who are working with
we will
immigration,
share it with
immigrant
all of the
groups,
board
et
members
cetera.
because you're getting direct emails from
And phone calls.
constituents. We're getting emails, we are getting phone calls, so you need to, it's the same messaging then throughout.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Member Desart.
Thank you. I think my question was answered. I have been getting those emails as well. I brought them up at the last meeting, and my question was, to which staff member should we send those for professional updates? And you're telling us that you'll be sending us the information, and then we'll respond directly to our constituents. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just a little confused because I sit here and I'm told that the county board has no control over the internal operations of an elected official, which would be the sheriff of DuPage County. How can we tell him what to do or the state's attorney tell him what to do? I mean, he has control of the operation of his office, right? So he would be the one that would have to respond to this or do whatever. I think he's gonna follow the law, which law it is, if it's the state law or if it's the federal law. Now, that's where you have a quandary at that point. So again, it's nice that you're gonna tell us that, but ultimately it's the sheriff of DuPage County who has control of his internal operations, not the county board. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from the clerk's office, so I don't know how we can then ask a different elected official what he's gonna do on an issue when another elected official won't tell us.
I can say this, I know that the state's attorney and the sheriff have met, and the sheriff intends to comply with the laws. So he has guidance. It's
Thank
been
you.
discussed and he knows what he's doing.
Yes, yeah, and no, we're not telling anybody how to do their job, but it'll be kind of nice to have a response because it is, I've been just kind of telling them it's, it's really not up to our agency, but it'll be nice to have something formal that we can send to our constituents from a place of knowledge. Member Ozog and then Member Krajewski.
Thank you. It's getting rather tiresome to hear everything tied into the clerk's office when this has nothing to do with the clerk's office. We are elected officials and we are contacted by our constituents. So when I'm contacted about something that's going to have national and international implications, but is going to be dealt with locally, I need to be able to answer my constituents. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not telling the sheriff how to do his job, but we do need clarification. And obviously, we're going to need a lot of clarification because what's coming down from yesterday's announcements by the new president is going to be very interesting, including the idea that people who are born here are maybe not citizens if their parents weren't born here. My mother wasn't born here and she was not a citizen when I was born. So am I going to be at risk? There's a lot to be decided. Donald Trump's mother was born in Scotland and her first 3 children were born before she became a citizen in 1942. So we have a lot coming at us, but I will be able to answer my constituents. I'm not going to shy away from answering them, but I want to be able to answer them appropriately and obviously within the constraints of what we understand the laws to be, because this is going to impact our citizens. I don't know what the illegal migrant versus legal migrant situation is in DuPage. I don't think any of us really know, but these are our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Krajewski?
Yeah, I agree. It has nothing to do with the clerk's office, but I think our state's attorney just gave us the answer that we need to tell it. They're gonna follow the law. I mean, you basically just told
when we
us
know
what
it.
that's exactly what we're telling them. We're gonna follow the law. And if there's a discrepancy in the law, y'all know it'll show up in a court, but we're gonna, follow the law. I think she just gave the 2-word answer that we tell people. We're gonna follow the law.
Yeah, sometimes it helps though to at least even tell our constituents
I'm
who's doing. Well, but the jurisdiction, some people think that county board tells the sheriff what to do. Honestly, they don't know what the jurisdiction is.
I mean, we don't.
I know,
practice
I do
law,
tell them
so
that we don't,
We're
but,
gonna say
you
the
know,
sheriff, our state's attorney are gonna follow the law. I mean,
Sometimes there's
we can't interpret what the law is.
more eloquent ways to say it. I see your member Eckhoff. I'm calling on you now.
Well, I was just gonna say, now you've got two things to bring to ISACO. You can find out how everybody's dealing with this law
Sure.
statewide, and the Safety Act has been in place a couple of years, so people are gonna start reviewing that, so maybe you can find out how effective that's been. But if you do, I suggest you bring our state's attorney with you.
Right, that's a good idea. Okay, member Ozog, you've spoken twice.
I think
So-
it's fair to say that our constituents would want to know what the law is. So it's fair for us to know what it is. I'm not trying to interpret or tell anyone what to do, but we do need to know. So I'll look forward to
Sure.
the answers.
Yeah, and it is nice to have something that we could just kind of forward to people that comes from, like I said, comes from a place of knowledge. So any other new business? Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.